Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Xenogears. I'm Dan.
And I'm Austin.
We're here to play games
On disc 2.
in the exposition chair.
Yes, exposition chair. But when you can't afford to actually go from one place to the other.
Right. Yeah, last time we did a lot. We finished up in Solaris and then entered disc 2 after a lot of bombshells, a lot of exposition and revelations about some things that have been going on. And it's a very interesting discussion of basically the past lives of Faye and Ellie. We still don't know a lot about kind of mechanically how this is going on, but we're kind of seeing a little more of the phenomenon itself. And we got new objectives. So Faye is on his way to help after the destruction of Solaris. The remains, or the destruction of, I guess, Etranank. Solaris is still around. The nation itself, their forces are massing to attack everyone, basically. And Faye is on his way to assist with that, as Ellie and Emeralda head to the mass driver facility to disperse nanomachines, basically to remove limiters from everyone. So yeah, that's where we currently are. And there was quite a lot to process from last time, but we are gonna kind of continue to move forward here a little bit. But if there's one thing I wanted to call out from some of the dialogue last time, and it was a word kahal, from some of what Sophia / Ellie was saying during the flashbacks. She called her followers the kahal. And it's sort of a term from Masoretic text with of basically the Jewish scriptures that were translated to Greek in what's called the Septuagint, which is a translation of I believe the Old Testament to the Greek by 72 translators. To basically, they translated the term to ecclesia, which we've come to know as assembly, gathering, or the church, basically.
Right.
So it's basically, Sophia is a religious leader in this church-like structure, which we've come to know as the sect of Nisan. And so her followers are the Kahal. Interesting little term there that I wanted to make sure we covered before we proceeded. Do you have any opening comments for this episode, Austin, before we get going?
Nothing major, but I think something worth pointing out, and maybe I'm way off on this, but when we started disc 2 in the exposition chair, we have that scene between Lacan and Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of those sections, they say something along the lines of, "This is a dream that I can barely remember," right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering if maybe not on a truly conscious level, but like on a subconscious level, Ellie and Faye are awakening to this transitional lifespans that they've been exposed to in their dreams while they've been healing, right? Like there seems to be, and Sighton points it out, he's like, you seem more mature now. I think there's something deeper that's awakened kind of within them, because they both seem very different than when they left.
Yeah. I mean, that really tracks with some of the flashbacks Faye has been getting in particular of, his time as Lacan. However that actually was accomplished, if those are just memories he has for some reason, if he actually physically was Lacan somehow.
Right.
Regardless, they do seem to be in the process of realizing these past lives in some way, perhaps remembering barely.
That's what I'm wondering. Like maybe they aren't able to fully acknowledge it yet, but it seems like there's a part of them that realizes the truth. Maybe not to the full depth of what it is yet, but because even there's like this weird exchange between Faye and Ellie as well too, when they wake up, where he's like, "I knew it was you. You seemed different somehow, but yet familiar." Like, I think they're seeing or maybe
Sensing.
acknowledging, sensing, this other part of their reality that they hadn't noticed before. And it's just very interesting how different the tone is, even though they haven't really changed. There is something different about them.
They both have and have not changed in a lot of ways. It's interesting. Yeah.
So
it's a good observation, I feel like. Keep that in mind as we kind of move forward here.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the exposition chair once again, and we'll probably pause occasionally to kind of discuss things as we go here. It's sort of... I have been anticipating these sorts of scenes for a while, and so, we're going to make sure that as we encounter things, we kind of do any sidebars necessary here to make sure there's some good understanding. But
there's always so much to unpack, all of which cannot be put into one video, so... So hopefully this will cover a lot of what's going on. I've done my best to kind of make sure that I'm going ahead and making sure that terms, and if, like Kahal, if there are terms that we cover where I don't have it right away, we'll keep the flow going, and then we'll come back and say, hey, this is what this means. So, all right, let's get moving here. In order to disperse the nanomachines, Emeralda and I headed for one of the ruins of the Zeboim civilization, the Mass Driver facility. There we go. Push the button.
Yup. Fortunately, the facility was still active, which allowed us to proceed on to the central control room with little difficulty.
That's an interesting looking place.
Even more interesting. Along the way, we saw various missiles and giant rockets that were created during the Zeboim era.
I was about to say those look like ballistic or nuclear missiles.
They do.
Problems.
They stood like tombstones of that ancient civilization. It was a graveyard for a race of people who destroyed each other over pride and arrogance. Once arriving at the central control room, we met up with Seitan, who helped us activate the mass driver. We succeeded in launching the capsule containing the nanomachines, which would release the seal limiter. Some interesting little shots. Unfortunately, we don't get to explore the mass driver facility. We just kind of get some shots of it. But certainly very interesting little more peaks of the Zeboim civilization.
Right. I mean, this makes me really wonder how different this game would have been had they had the time to input all this information.
Yup.
And like actually develop it the way they wanted to.
Yeah, I certainly wonder that as well. Had they been given another year to develop all this, would we have been able to run around the mass driver facility? What other things would have made their way onto disc 2?
I find it interesting they're focusing on destroyed places at the moment. Because that was the Ethos headquarters, and then that's Lahan there.
Yup.
The orphanage. Is this supposed to remove both limiters?
So, I think so. I'm not sure the first limiter, the mechanical one, necessarily has a lot of relevance for the majority of the populace, but the way I take it is it's both limiters, yeah. But primarily, what needs to happen is removing the second one, I believe.
The mental barrier?
Yeah. The nanomachines that were scattered into the upper atmosphere began to multiply and spread throughout the whole of the world. The nanomachines glittered in the sunlight, flowing like a large river in the sky. That glitter would remove the bonds restraining everyone. It was to be our light of hope for regaining back our true freedom.
Light of hope, huh?
Solaris's mobile surface supremacy weapon invaded the area with great force. Shivat and Nissan's standard gear battalions were no match against it. It was only a matter of time before the Solaris mobile weapon arrived in Nissan.
That thing looks wild.
Yeah, it's great. And just to call it out, we're back on phase perspective here.
Right.
After we pushed back the Solarian gear units, we headed for Nortune, to the Kislev capital's administrative district. We went there to obtain our one and only means of standing up against the mobile weapon. We'll go ahead and save here.
I think I pointed it out in the last video, but 3 weeks is an awful fast time for peace talks to have gone, and
yeah. Yeah, suddenly the Av and Kislev, this war that's been raging for so long, they're at peace within a few weeks. It really kind of speaks to how much Solaris was stoking the flames of war.
Right.
Oh, we're continuing.
We just started.
The Kislev capital's Nortune's Central Administrative District itself was a secret battleship constructed by Bart's ancestor, Roni Fatima, after the Great War with Solaris many hundreds of years ago.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed the big red thing in the middle.
Yeah.
The existence of the secret battleship remained hidden. Later, the ship was turned into a section of the Kislev imperial capital during the founding of the empire.
Yeah, I always found it strange looking, and I was like, that seems like that is something else. I don't know if I thought battleship. I would not have predicted it created by Ronnie.
Right. Yep. Uncovering this truth from some ancient records, Bart activated the secret battleship in order to fight against the Solarian mobile surface supremacy weapon. The sand cruiser Yggdrasil was actually the center of command and also the main secret weapon of the craft.
Of course it was.
Yeah, I'm taking that as this Yggdrasil 2 here. I'm pretty sure that's what they're using here, because I think the first one did actually sink.
Well, yeah, because Faye destroyed it.
Right. Awakening from 500 years of dormancy, its true form appeared before us. Commanded by its new master, the secret battleship stood before the mobile weapon with all of us inside of it. I don't think that actually means all of them are there, because Ellie, Citan, and Emeralda are occupied elsewhere. But
right.
The way I take this, and we don't really know, given we're just kind of having this narrated to us, but it's like Faye, Bart, Billy, Rico are all here. All right.
It would make sense narratively that that's where they would meet back up.
Yep. I've been waiting for this.
Does this turn into a giant gear?
No, why would you ever say that?
Oh my gosh.
Remember when you were talking about Omnigears being enormous?
Yeah.
I thought of this immediately.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad we get the gear that can drive a gear.
Yeah.
That is a monster ship.
It is gigantic.
Voltron!
We're here!
Does the Yggdrasil become a sword?
Super Dimensional Gear Yggdrasil 4.
Of course, because even though it's the same ship, you got to name it something new because it's in a new configuration.
That's right. Hiya!
All right, transformation complete. Come on, monster, let's go. Whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of weird looking.
Oh, weird.
Fort Hurricane. So we fight the mobile supremacy weapon. Note, Yggdrasil 4 has 99999 max HP, 9900 fuel. We are running with power output of 1000.
Golly.
Yeah. So there aren't a lot of options within this. I'm going to go ahead and booster him because we got plenty of fuel.
Yo, dog, I heard you like propellers.
Yeah. Fort Hurricane is crazy looking. All right, let's just give it a strong attack here. Boom. Ooh. Over 4,000 damage there. Yeah, Fort Hurricane is no match for Yggdrasil 4 here. Like, it can barely damage us. We are going to use the special option, which requires 9,000 fuel, but it's totally worth it.
It's over 9,000!
So we use the ship as a laser. 9999.
Man, I can only imagine what the build-up to this fight would have been, again, had they had the time to actually develop.
Yeah, it would have been crazy.
Could you imagine the race through Kislev to get to the ship?
Mm-hmm.
Probably racing through the center itself.
Right.
And then docking the Yggdrasil with the...
Yeah, I definitely wish we could have gotten that portion of this game. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
We got some money. We got a good bit of EXP dumped on Bart specifically.
Bart with his 4 different ships and gear variants.
Yup. The Solaris mobile weapon was destroyed, which brought a sigh of relief to the continent of Ignas. Peace was signed, and after some 500 years of division, the land of Ignas once again became united. Excitement spread throughout Av, Nisan, Kislev, Shivat. The sky shimmered as if to celebrate. By the hands of Eli, Seitan, Tara, and Emeralda, the nanomachines had been dispersed into the atmosphere. That was when disaster struck. Our songs of victory were replaced by the sounds of total pandemonium. In the beginning, we had no idea what had transpired. We witnessed inexplicable phenomena. People from all parts of the globe began to mutate into abnormal forms.
Oh.
It seemed to be triggered when the nanomachines removed the limiter seal that was placed on humankind by Krelian in the past. The human form, with its innate abilities, released. So importantly here, we learned that Krelian was behind the limiter seal. I believe we may have talked about that before, but for the most part, it was his kind of creation.
Is it the demi-humans specifically being affected?
No, it's anyone. Humans, demi-humans, doesn't matter.
Okay, because this picture, I didn't know if it was showing...
Yeah, these
strictly...
are humans that are mutating randomly.
Right.
Yeah. That's when I remembered what Hammer had said back in Solaris. His words were, "What becomes of the normal humans?"
In regards to what?
It's sort of unclear, but yeah, I think when things happen is essentially what it's kind of indicating. I remember he was talking about how he is not special like Faye or Seitan are. So I think it's along those lines, but I don't remember that actual line from him.
Gotcha. I am so tired of these dudes. So, they are naturally germinating because the resurrection of God is near. Germinating, such an interesting word choice.
Indeed.
Those who will become the body of our servant. I never knew so many would exist, even without using the key. But some of them still have not yet begun to germinate. Are they not destined to be the flesh of God? Or perhaps those are the enemies of God. Let us reactivate the strategic points of the Soylent. You know. At any rate, they are just incomplete mutants. They are useless now in their half-finished form. God's apostles. There cannot be any harm in having too many of them.
Yeah, so mutants seem to be half-completed forms, which is interesting.
Are you guys in the Zaboan ruins? No, but that's a similar tube as to what they found Emeralda in.
It is similar, yep.
The chains that restrained humankind have been removed because of you. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with our plan. Everything is still under control. In the event of the explosion in the capital of Solaris earlier, I had set up a nanomachine virus to diffuse into the atmosphere. Bruh.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they would eventually be going to break the seal, but the timing was a little close for comfort.
So everyone is mutating because of Krellian. He basically trapped the entire limiter release to cause everyone to mutate. Because he's a monster.
The current mutations of the humans are an initial response to the virus. Once the virus we spread over the world germinates inside of the humans, they are no longer the same. They change into a controllable form. We need humans that do not depend on the key's invocation in order to awaken.
This is a little...
basically turning everybody into wells?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and we see another reference to the key, which the ministry's been talking about, the geisha key. Its apparent purpose is to awaken humans, similar to what's happening now. But as we just heard from the ministry, the current mutations are only kind of a half measure. So it begs the question, what is the final? Like, what are they trying to achieve with this, right?
An ascended form, if you will?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
In other words, a being to take the place of the original body of God.
Yeah, so we're hearing the ministry was talking about that as well, the body of God. So this seems to be the goal of doing this, is to take the place of the original body.
It's like a Trojan horse released at the time of the assimilation with God. A literal virus, but isn't it different from what they intended?
I enjoy the use of the term Trojan horse as a virus. Kind of harkens back to computer viruses, and their, you know, that of course is a reference to the Trojan horse, the historical, the horse that all the soldiers came out of and everything. So it's really very. What's that?
I was gonna say kind of a double entendre there.
Yeah, it's a very good analogy for what Krellian has just done. He trapped it, and then we released the limiters using the nanomachines, and he's like, haha, I was here all along with the thing that triggered.
It was actually I, Dio.
It was I, Krellian. What?
Of course. We can't let them have it their way. The Ark of God is mine.
So he's talking about the ministry there. He can't let the ministry have it their way.
Either way is fine by me. I will just side with whichever is the more certain one anyway.
I can't think of a better description of Myung as a character than this right here.
Yeah. Where is this?
The Soylent System. Yeah, a group of facilities formerly created by Solaris. These facilities existed all over the Earth. It is said that, originally, these were used for biological experiments and brainwashing.
Yikes.
The people he mutated into what were called wells, or the true form of humans, gathered at these facilities.
The true form?
Yep. It's kind of like they're being changed back or something. It's sort of an interesting turn of phrase there. Some of the humans turned Vels were attacking healthy humans and devouring their flesh and blood. That is because healthy human flesh and blood eased the pain of their sudden molecular changes and let them live longer. Their lives were so short. If you recall, this is very similar to what we were hearing about with just Wells before all of this started. The beings Billy was hunting down, Red Drum, the Bloody Brothers, Bloody, all of them.
Right.
Soon after, severely mutated beings started to seek the flesh and blood of the less mutated beings. The Soylent system divides and merges those mutated bodies on a molecular level.
Oh, Krellian had a large chest in one of his, like, tubes. He had, like, a large... He had, like, a large hand, large, like, torso.
Oh, yes.
And I was jokingly talking about him making, like, a human gear or something. But if they're talking about a physical body of God and they're merging all these components of humans into a singular entity...
Yep. Yeah, it's sort of disturbing, right? Like, he seems to be merging humans together, Wells together, into some sort of singular entity. So, those pieces in Krellian's lab in Solaris may have been his experimentation with doing that.
Yeah, this feels an awful lot like a variation of the Philosopher's Stone. Especially for those who are familiar with, like, Fullmetal Alchemist, right? Because the creation of that stone required an egregious amount of life,
right,
to create it. And that's what this feels like, is this power, especially since weapon is being used here.
Yeah, a set of facilities that recreate a more perfect single life form to be used as a weapon.
Yeah. That's
interesting choice of words, isn't it?
Yeah.
This whole part is so disturbing.
It is, especially when you know what that is, which you had to have pre-established.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to keep moving, but okay, yeah. Near the top here, near the center, that is, I believe, the crest of Solaris. And it actually is, it's sort of hard to see because it's kind of pixelated, but it's formed in the, it looks like the Tree of Life, the Tree of Sephiroth. The top three are at the very top above that horizontal line. So those are the upper, and we'll talk more about this when the time comes, but I just wanted to point out that is what that looks like. And yeah, the top three are divided such because they're kind of the upper domain of the tree, and that is going to require some unpacking to explain what that actually means. But, you know, the Tree of Sephiroth, basically the pathway to God, sort of. That's boiling it down way too much, but that's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, if we can, maybe we can look for a decent image.
Yes.
Of, if not of that, of like a Sephiroth that isn't too convoluted, to kind of give a reference to what that looks like.
Yeah, maybe we can put that up on the screen, actually. I know exactly where there's a good image, so yeah, let's, we could put that up and you can kind of see what it looks like here as we're talking about it. But yeah, it's very interesting. I wanted to make sure I pointed out the crest of Solaris when we first saw it, which is about now.
Yeah.
Okay. This was the truth behind the Gazel Ministry's M plan.
Man, this place is wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to look like veins with blood cells in it.
A little bit, yeah.
Aw.
Kind of weird looking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go to those facilities and you'll be freed from the unbearable agony. So people gathered, seeking a fulfillment of this promise. There is salvation there. The news spread, although no one actually uttered it. Their mutated blood probably told such people to gather there. It's sort of similar to Final Fantasy VII, the idea of the reunion is sort of similar vibes here.
Yeah.
We went there to destroy the Soylent system. There, humans fought amongst themselves greedily for limited pardons to live. It was an ugly battle to keep on living, or so it may have seemed to the casual passerby. But to me, they were desperately trying to live. It was each person's natural human form. So they're basically boiled down to survival instinct. There were the haves and the have-nots, and among them were some of my former friends from Solaris. So this is Ellie talking, by the way.
Okay.
They wanted our flesh and blood. They told us the haves should share with the have-nots. They asked if a have, such as myself, could understand their pain. I couldn't answer. No matter what I said, it would have sounded like a conceited have speaking. Even so, I wanted to relieve their anguish, and I decided to do so. Just like the person and the memory of my dreams in the distant past. Then, suddenly, the system went out of control. The Sufal mass, a monstrous organism still in the process of amalgamation, broke through the barrier of the life support facilities and stood before us. No longer of human form, that which was once human began eating the people gathered there seeking relief. We had to fight it in order to save the people and in order to save him. The eyes of that which was once human looked at me, pleading for death to take away the agony.
Wow.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal, and it makes me wonder if we had been able to go through this section of the game, if this would have been... I mean, obviously it would have been disturbing, but how it would have landed differently. Yeah, I think we're good here. We'll stick with this party. Let's go. Alright. So the Sufal Mass boss fight here. And I recommend completely ignoring the Sufals here, because if you kill all of them, the Sufal Mass will begin doing a large attack that will cause big problems. You don't want that. So definitely just go for the boss first.
All right, so while this is happening, just to make sure I'm unpacking what's being said correctly.
Yeah.
Solaris reopens the Soylent system, which is apparently several different facilities, like across the planet.
Yep.
And these people who are transforming and mutating are going into these facilities to get help, but really what that turns into is they end up killing each other and themselves, and then all being packaged away to become things like this creature.
That's correct.
Okay. And
absorbs fire too.
Are all humans being affected by this right now?
No, only some.
Okay.
There
Seems
are
like a large number of them.
Yes, there is a large number. But there are haves, there are have-nots. Obviously, the party is not being affected, which is curious because we do have at least one demi-human in the party. But so far as we know, Rico is not being affected by this.
Right, and that could be a result of experimentation and a whole bunch of other stuff. So
let's see.
It makes me wonder if the people that Ellie knew from Solaris, if they are that squad that we ran into several times.
Ah, yes, Ellie's squad.
Yeah. That would be potent, at least.
Indeed.
Narratively speaking.
I agree.
I'm assuming the elements are not affected yet either.
That is a curious question. Yeah, I think that's a good assumption, but certainly a curious question, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if the amount of ether that they can hold or whatever has an effect on how fast it affects them.
That could be, because the elements and the party all have very high ether potential.
Right. So all these different facilities are making these larger wells, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. This one in particular is the one we've come to, but yeah, that is basically what's going on.
So I'm just making an assumption that there are multiple facilities doing the same thing.
That sounds right.
But it could be that they're funneling all from the same different facilities into this one system.
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess my question would be, that's such a cool, edgy move.
I love that move.
Like, I know I said it before, but it really does. It speaks to my inner edgelord in such a way that makes me so happy.
Yup.
Do those larger wells then get disseminated into an even larger being?
Well, yeah, like, that's a good question. What is the goal on this? I mean, we're hearing about how the body of God is attempting to be constructed. Is that what they're trying to do here? Maybe.
Well, and what do they mean by body? Because all this time I've been assuming that God isn't an actual person.
Maybe time to revisit that assumption, huh?
Yeah, I guess it's always the possibility that God is a person, right? But when we talk about, especially science fiction, God being this weapon is just as likely, right, to be like an actual weapon. A prime example of that would be in Destiny 2. There's this huge, like, planet-killing space station, and they call it the Almighty.
Sure.
Right? Like, that's got that theistic nomenclature to it.
Yeah, there's a transcendent nature to it, even though it is a weapon. Yeah.
Right. And it's a powerful, again, planet-killing machine, but it is still a machine. And so, I don't know, I've been kind of assuming God is the spaceship, or at least something in the ship, you know, like, I haven't really assumed it's an actual person. So if it has a humanoid form, maybe it's not a living organism necessarily. Maybe it's an artificial intelligence or something. I don't know.
Yeah, regardless, it is a very complex question. That's for sure.
Right. You squashed it.
Yep.
Satan, please lend me your sword. Goliath slice. Oh.
Cutscene.
What you doing, Ellie?
I'm sorry. I guess I couldn't help you after all. All I can do for you now is ease your wounds. I'm so sorry.
Ellie, you...
Man, she rolled her sleeve way up for that hand cut. Please, listen to me. Stop fighting among yourselves. We are all humans. This facility was built by the Solaris Ministry. It was created to implement their no-waste plan. Such facilities were to convert mutated humans into weapons that serve as tools for their ambitions. Just one part of their overall plan of racial purification. Ugh, hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, once you enter their umbrella of protection...
See Sophia here. Kind of flashing to her talking, yeah.
I didn't even catch that. You can avoid absolute death. But is that human life? Even if you are the only one left, if you're devoid of a heart, what does it all mean? All of you want to be loved, needed by someone, so we look to others. By ourselves, we're lonely, so we try to draw close together to live. That's what it means to be human. That's how people live. A single hand cannot clap. To relieve your pain, I'll give however much of my flesh you need. Therefore, don't throw away your dignity as humans. Don't let go of your human heart. Ellie, are you okay? What are you doing? You think I'm doing something foolish? No. I only did what I could. Maybe I'm a hypocrite, a well-to-do have. Maybe it's only pity for the have-nots. But if I can know the joy of giving out a little of the life within me, then maybe someday it may just be possible that one human can truly give love to another. People can do it. I truly believe they can. That's why... Ellie...
Yeah, this is one of those sections I really wish had been expanded a little bit, because the whole have-not thing, we get about 15 minutes talking about it, and it's sort of interesting, because really being able to see how people are struggling would have been very interesting, given what's happened.
Well, yeah, and also... how... Because, like, they need flesh and blood to ease their pain, right? How would her giving that part up of herself help long term?
Right. Yeah, but she doesn't seem to be thinking about that. She just wants to help. Right?
Right, yeah, I understand. I understand that, but like...
But that tension there, like, you know, obviously Faye and everyone, all of her friends care about her and don't want her to, like, throw her life away or something like that, you know, if it would come to that. But, you know, the commentary on the have versus the have-not, the idea of privilege in this section of the game, it's sort of glossed over a little bit, unfortunately. You get a decent amount of it, but it's not enough for it to really sink in, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely something lost here, and it's really unfortunate, because I think the rhetoric that they're wanting to portray here would have been really potent. And now it's just a little confusing.
Yes, it's a little confusing. That's true.
And I think some of it being because, like, how do you... This is not a systemic problem necessarily. This is a genetic problem.
Right.
And how do you fix that without genetically modifying people?
Yeah. Well, they've already been modified by Krellian as well. Krellian caused this, right?
Oh, well, right, but like we're saying that this is their true form. So does that mean they've always craved flesh, or is that just the result of the mutation?
We have to unpack that a little bit. So yeah, it is interesting that they call it that. I believe it was Faye calling it that, or at least the narration was, for sure.
Right.
The other thing that's very interesting in this part of the game is you're starting to see how Ellie is channeling, one might term it the spirit of Sophia, her caring for others, her being a sort of figure.
Mother?
Yeah, mother-like figure. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. After that, We went from place to place, destroying all the Soylent System facilities located on the surface of the Earth, and freed the people held at each of the locations. All the people that had been mutated were taken in by Nissan, where they received treatment. Those who had mutated only mildly were treated with Tora's nanomachines, which reconstructed and revived them. They were able to return back to their normal bodies. Unfortunately, there were some that had such accelerated symptoms that their treatment was not as promising. Trying to bring them back to a form that resembled a human was the best that could be done. However, mysteriously, they no longer fought each other for survival, as they did when they were held by the Soylent System. Of course, their recovery from the physical pain of the mutation may have played a factor, but it wasn't only that. The majority of the people received by Nissan were those that had been admonished by Ellie and had regained their humanity.
So, was their craving for flesh and blood, I mean, obviously for pain, but was it like withdrawal symptoms?
Something like that, yeah. The mutation made them crave it for relief from the molecular changes in their body. And so the nanomachines are able to compensate for that, even if it can't. Like, they're mutated humans still, right? They're maybe demi-humans. Maybe some of them are just they're disfigured, and we can only do so much if they're severely mutated with the nanomachines,
Yeah. Are only those with the nanomachines from Tara cured of this desire? Because it sounded like as time progressed, I guess as their bodies settled, they no longer craved this relief.
Well, they went around destroying the various Soylent systems. And this is where this narrative format is really limiting us a little bit here, because we don't see this happening, but there were apparently several facilities that were functioning the same way as where we just were with the Sufal mass.
Right.
And the party is going around destroying all of them. And so one would think, these survivors are heading to Nissan. So I believe what it's saying is that everybody heading to Nissan or is rescued from the Soylent System is treated by Tora's nanomachines.
Okay.
But it's possible that once the transformation settles down, maybe they lose some of their craving.
Yeah. I mean, and for him to have as many nanomachines, I'm like, how do you have that? But these nanomachines, I'm assuming, are self-replicating. So as long as you have an amount, they can keep building upon themselves.
Yeah, nanotech's pretty interesting in this game. We've seen several examples. Yeah, it's sort of the sci-fi nanotech, nanomachine stuff where it's like nanomachines are magic, kind of. For the most part, it's not completely broken what they do, other than Emeralda.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, what is it? Science far enough in the future will look like magic?
Right. Any sufficiently advanced civilization will appear to be magic.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that at play with some of the science. Not all of it, but some of the science in this game, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought I had some other point I wanted to make, but I don't remember it at the moment. But yeah. Oh, yeah. But I do think there is an exception for at least some of them if they're not treated, because as we saw, Redrum, Bloody, they literally drank the blood using their murder ability of people.
Right.
So I think there is kind of a persistent, as long as, there's no real treatment being given. But at least there is a level of relief given by anybody the party can reach with Tara's inventions, right?
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense than just the system itself kind of egging on that need.
Right. Yeah, but because
the system would benefit from that.
Right. Yeah, there's a bit of that going on. And then there's also the idea that Ellie, what she is doing is functioning as a counter to what the Soylent System was attempting to do. And there's explanations for why that is, but they are mutually opposed forces in this case, which is interesting. Between her work in destroying the Soylent System facilities, Ellie also went around and nursed the people in Nissan. She aided the bodies of the mutated and lent an ear to those who had no other place to go for help. She was the very image of the woman who created Nissan, Mother Sophia. It became rumored that Ellie was a reincarnation or a second advent of Sophia.
Oh, see that again.
Yeah, I did want to pause here because we heard that Faye was a second advent of Graf in his id form. This word advent has been used again here, this time in a more positive sense, referring to Ellie and Sophia, where people are beginning to recognize there's a connection. You know, she doesn't just look like Sophia, she's beginning to act like Mother Sophia did.
Yeah. Advent, by definition, I think is good to have here. Is the arrival of a notable person, thing, or event, right? So, in this use of Advent, what we're really saying is like she is reincarnation, but also, if not reincarnation, a successor of Sophia.
Yep.
Yeah. Inheriting her will, I guess, would be another way of putting it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put that.
Okay.
Go to Nissan and you will receive salvation. The news seemed to spread further about, and people came from all over to be saved, both physically and spiritually. Free from the supervision of Solaris, the surface dwellers began to unite in one place.
Good old Mary.
Ready for more of these, guys?
Perkface Magoos. The germinating of those destined to be the body of the servant of God. As before, the humans are gathering in a sun at this rate. Everything will happen again. Not to fear, this might actually be helpful to us. We can blow them up all at once. The time is near. Should we not prepare for those who are to become the fleshly body of God, and those who will awaken him? Awaken God. The time has come to activate the geisha key. Okay, so I've been noticing that slot there for a while, and I was wondering...
It's a keyhole.
It's the ignition switch. What? Oh, see, Krellian kind of screwed you over. Oh, no, Kane.
Kane?
What more do you intend to do? I cannot allow you to use the key. Kane, what are you doing? Without the resurrection of God, our purpose cannot be fulfilled. Or are you planning on perishing with God, Kane? Without fulfilling our purpose. Your purpose. You were fated it from your birth. Why haven't you realized that it does not arise from your own free will? I've heard enough. Yes, this is our own volition. If you still insist on opposing us. That sphere better blow up. Have you forgotten? You are my subordinate. I can destroy you if I so desire. We have already done our part. It's time to pass the helm to the next generation. The people will not perish.
So Kane is sort of acting in favor of humanity at this point.
I kind of took that the moment he and Satan had that conversation where he said, okay, I'll leave it to you.
Yep, as atonement.
Yeah, I'm washing my hands of this.
Exactly. Although the initial impact of being released from the limiter seal caused some momentary chaos, everything slowly began to settle down. We then began to search for the anima relics, the catalyst to transform gears into omni-gears. In the past, 10 relics had been recovered. It is said that about half of those are in the hands of the Ministry.
That makes sense.
According to Zephyr, there should be several more relics hidden in the land. We knew then that Solaris would most certainly be searching for them. There was no way we could allow Solaris to have them. We visited the place where, using archaic records, Zephyr and her people had been able to get clues on the whereabouts of the relics. Following the information we obtained from there, we headed toward the ruins of what seemed to be an ancient civilization. Alright, we're gonna keep running this party for now. Don't worry, I will change it up at some point.
Yeah, because we all want to know what Choo Choo's Omni Gear looks like, right?
Alright. We are
Oh,
here.
man. Veltal 2 looks so good.
Yup. And I don't know if I can get a good angle on it, but there is Fenrir. That is Satan's Omni Gear. One of the cool things about it is Fenrir wields a sword.
Of course it does.
Yeah. So this is just to complete our discussion on why I think there were no hyper mode combos on disc 1.
Yeah.
Fenrir uses a sword, so all of the death blows that Fenrir uses use a sword, and so do its hyper mode combos. So
well, this is Satan's gear, right? Wouldn't
Correct.
it be something different?
What?
Okay. Well, this is Satan's physical gear.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Versus his gears.
Yeah.
Gear. There we go.
Yeah, they both use a Sengoku sword. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're right. I was not pulling up the right screen, but yeah, his gear uses a sword as well. So I believe that is why it didn't really have hyper mode on disc 1, is because they just didn't program hyper mode stuff for death blows in
Right.
Heimdall, because it just uses. But yeah, as you could see, Fenrir also starts with a lot of fuel, a good frame, and all of that. So yeah, we're in quite good shape with our gears at this point. Yeah, let's see. Welcome to Anima Dungeon 1. And we do have a party swap and a save point here.
Shopkeep Johnny.
Yeah.
Whoa, I'm not the enemy. My family's been merchants for generations, and we got our own ways to fight. What are you buying? And this is my battle. Want to buy something? I even service gears.
Thanks, buddy. All right.
Yeah,
gear.
but I miss my hammer, bro.
I know, right?
Proposal: instead of a remake of this game or remastering, right, with expanding the story, just create an anime series.
That could work very well for this, I think.
I think it would tell a very good story, and they could focus on the parts they want to.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Look at that extra 20 attack on that Yamame sword. It's nice.
Yeah, mame.
Oh, you.
I'm funny.
Such a funny.
Yeah. But as they say, looks aren't everything.
Okay, so we got plenty of stuff we are able to do now that we're here. Shopkeep Johnny is handy for upgrades, and I believe, yep, here we go. Let's grab this. Ether Guard. There should be another item over here. But yeah, since Solaris, this is the first time we've been able to run around. Let's see. Yeah, it's
in the north, east, and west corners before the next section is where those two charts are looking for.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, let's see. So there should be a item. Is it over here?
Yeah, it's probably through the...
Yeah, here it is.
And there's one on the opposite side.
Starlight. Yeah, I don't know that I actually remember what a starlight is. Let me take a look. Okay, yeah, I think, was it up here? Yeah, here we go. You gotta, like, run over here.
Giant chest for tiny...
little bitty humans. King's Helm. Who's using a helm? Someone is. Is it Ellie? Yeah, because I got the power crisis on Faye. Sure. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, that's just a defensive item.
Starlight looks to be
Hmm.
a female-only helmet of some kind, headpiece.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh, wow. That's a good bit of defense.
Oh yeah, and then the King's Helm.
Maybe I'll give it the... I don't know. I'm liking the Power Crisis. One thing some people do is they give the Power Crisis to Citan because he is just already insanely strong. So if he takes any damage, he's got enough HP to kind of hang in combat for a while. And his power just goes up like crazy. All right. Let's start collecting stuff here.
Yeah.
I did find it interesting. They mentioned the anima relics, and we're here after them. They mentioned that half of them were in the hands of the Ministry, which is roughly correct. We do have... So we know that since they're associated with Omnigears, where there is an Omnigear, there is an anima relic. So we have 2 Omnigears in our party right now, Anvari and Finrir. And then there is the Omnigear and Shivat as well. So that's 3 of them.
Well, and there's the one that was at least in Etronaut too, right?
Yes.
The one that Kaiser Krellian has. So
yeah, we walked over it. We could see Solaris's Omnigear, basically.
Right. So Fenrir, the one in Shivat,
save point here.
Bart's and Krellian's. And then there's also
Double check, see if I'm missing
Vendetta.
Yes. Yes, Vendetta. Yeah, I will have more about anima relics as we go here, but yeah, it's interesting how many of them are and are not under our control. It actually might be more accurate to say the Ministry has control of most of the anima relics at this point, but there's a little bit of unclearness that we'll be talking about for sure.
Right.
So, let's see.
I find it interesting that anima relics make Omnigears, but they're not necessarily equivalent to them. Like, they require a pre-existing gear.
Right. Yeah, a gear has to be aligned with an anima relic, like how Wyvern was transformed into Vendetta.
Right. I'm just saying, if our party doesn't all have Omnigears by the end of this, I'll be sad.
Yeah, I got some information on that. It is very interesting.
I'm curious how it works, though, because Wyvern changed dramatically.
It did.
The only thing that is the same about Wyvern and Vendetta is the color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they're roughly the same configuration, but they're not exactly.
I mean, yeah, they both have, like, wings or whatever, but the overall shape of them is so different.
Device part is inside here. Give me that. Yeah, it's very interesting how drastically it changed, and Ellie commented that the armor is no longer segmented.
Right. Well, she also mentioned a perfect gear, which is someone who's perfectly synchronized with the Omnigear.
Mm-hmm. Which she noted the numbers on Rams's gear indicated complete synchronization.
Right.
Also, this item here, the Wizardry Ring. Let's see. Is this the one I'm thinking of? No, we already had a Wizardry. So this ups your Death Blow learning rate, which means it's not going to be useful to us, but if you never ended up getting one, there's one here. If you wanted to start leveling up some Death Blows, you can do so right here. Let's see. I think we gotta mess with this.
That door needs to be unlocked. Maybe if I punch this console. Guess I'll look around somewhere. Or look somewhere around here for it.
Yeah.
Be like Bart and just start pushing buttons.
What's that there?
What's that there? The power's cut off. Huh? What's that there?
What is it up here?
It appears that some kind of fuse-like device is blown.
Oh, you know what it is?
I'm gonna go get that fuse.
Yeah, I think we got to go back around here and grab it. He just didn't know what to do with it before. This anima dungeon is relatively simple. So I'm just kind of roughly using the map here. This should work.
Found a fuse-like device part.
Doodly-doo. All right.
Oh, and that's the other side of the door that we're hearing.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So we have to go around in order to get back to it and put it in, and we'll be able to move on. All right. Now we should be able to put the fuse in up here and unlock at least part of it. It is very interesting to me that this is kind of ancient ruins here. Place the broken part. Let's check it out. Door lock system is now operational.
Doodly-doo.
Door lock area A deactivated. Done. So now we can go through these doors. Alright, let's go ahead and head this way. Now we gotta unlock the B lock, which was to that central area.
Right.
Grab.
But not without grabbing treasure first.
Survival tent. I couldn't jump. It was cast AR.
Well, you see, it's an AR that involves casting.
That's true. I can't dispute that. Oh, that's terrible. That's awful.
I don't think we really covered the ridiculousness of the fact that Garoff rescued Faye and Ellie.
Oh yeah, yeah. So when Veltal crashed and they were bleeding out and dying, Groff rescued them and brought them to Tara.
Yeah, and Tara knew who Faye was almost immediately because he knew Lacan,
right,
and Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I missed it the first time until I was editing, and he was like, how could I not know it was you or who they were?
Right.
They look just like you.
Mm-hmm. Activating main system. Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, we need an activation
code.
We're gonna have to figure out
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yup. We mess with this stuff over here. Activate the main system. Aw.
Huh? Is this the one? How about that one?
Press every button.
There's a panel next to the first one there.
This panel?
I mean, it looks like a panel.
Wait. Main system use.
For main system use. For main system. For main system. Open up the door.
Let's see. Actually, inscribed as the D line. Line D's blocks are all closed off. Okay. C line.
The C line. The A line.
Oh. B.
B line.
D. Is this the main system?
Is this the main system? Any hints? Wouldn't it be 320? 0320?
Wait a minute. This is... What'd you say, 0320?
Yeah, if you're going from top to bottom, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Assuming doors open are in fact the indication of
Aha!
activating main system.
Victory! Ha 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 ha. Main system is active. Thank
I
you.
just hit buttons, but it works. Door lock system is now operational. Door lock area being deactivated.
Excellent.
Doodle-doo.
What do we got over here?
Huh? Is this the one? How about that one? Everything's just yelling at you at all times.
I'm just gonna... Faye doesn't... He just presses random buttons. It's like, what? Okay. So now, from here, I think we can just pop up here and go into this room. And this is the center room. Yes, okay. I remember this because I have seen some grinding occur in this room. This is a decent place for doing a little bit of grinding if you need it. It's not going to serve us very well, but if you're at this point and you're like, I really need to level up some death blows, you can do that here. You can also access the main hallway and just like leave and change out your party if you want. From here, it's very, very easy to do. You just kind of head south through the door there. That one there, and then you'll be back out in the main area. You can just walk right out and go to the party changing place.
Feels like a giant tube of something should come out of the middle of the ground.
It does.
You have to go through the north door.
Yeah, I think you're right. What is this?
That's the elevator you just came from.
Well, then I'll say no. Yeah, let's go through the north door. Don't mind me, I'm a silly person. Okay.
You are.
Hey.
Don't worry, it is a silly person.
Aha.
Booting up the central elevator's lock system. Releasing the central elevator's lock. Done.
Thank you. You mess with these other panels? Probably not. Oh. Is released. Great.
We'll love to hear it.
There's a lot going on in that room. And we can take the elevator down, I believe.
Yeah. Whoa, that one's weird looking.
Yeah, it is. I remember right, this one has a good bit of HP. Head on down here. Down?
Down? Rogan? Alright.
Alright. So this would be the area that will allow us to unlock the relic. Enter the code.
This facility is very interesting because it was clearly meant to be a high security location.
Right. Oh, I see. I'm just trying to make sure I understand this real quick.
Wow, I can tell you what the numbers are supposed to be.
Code. So 2, 4, 5, and 8, right? Okay. So let's just do that. So A. We'll do. You said 2 and 8, right? Yeah.
For A, yeah, A should be 2 or 8.
We'll do 2 for A. And then I think. Which one is this? Am I going
Probably
wrong?
D.
This is, I think, D. Okay.
Yeah, so D should be 5 or 4.
All right, we'll give that one 5.
So then this next one will be 8.
Yep. 8.
And then the last one will be 4.
And this one will be 4. Okay. And then I think we examine this thing again. Release lock.
Yeah.
And my relic released.
Yeah, I don't know if we read the actual like hints as to how to answer this question, but that is the solution.
Oh yeah, the hints are here, I think. Yeah, okay, so we can't read them now, but yeah, it'll basically explain what we stated. Here we go. Okay, I think we have to go down here, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we don't want the total to be more than 20, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's see, 16, and then we added 2 plus 8. No, that'd been
Oh, that would be 26.
22.
22?
Right? 16. No, 16 plus.
Yeah, 26.
26. Yeah, so I guess 26 for both sides.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Gotcha. This is why you're the math guy and not me.
We just go in here. There's not much left to do in here other than obtain the anima relic. Boom, boom. Open the doors. This is a cool area. I like this dungeon.
Man, look at all these seals. Like, they really didn't want you getting the anima relic.
Yep, they wanted to keep it safe. Here we go. Oh, this thing is cool. All right, let's mess with this panel. Billy!
This is the anima relic. Is this going to look the way I think it does? Wow, that's interesting.
Interesting looking, isn't it?
Who is it? Who's calling me? I don't know. I don't know. What should I do? You were waiting? For me? Billy?
Looked interesting, didn't it?
Did you see that? It looked like my gear? Maybe something has happened to your gear. Let's head for the exit and see if any changes take place. Have any changes taken place?
All right. But first, hello.
Haven't seen you guys in a while.
They're all here.
You girls again? Elements. I see you've gained a new gear that's been aligned with the anima relic. You know that we should have been the ones to have it. We need stronger powers in order for the Commander Ramses to realize his long-cherished desires. Well, Ramses is still kicking then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for the building of our ideal country, we can't allow you to take it. So come on, let us have it. You knew what Solaris was doing to the surface dwellers. And you know what the situation is like now on the Earth. And yet you... What the Gaz will do or whatever happens to the lambs are not my concern. Each of us have our own obligations to fulfill. We don't have time to deal with affairs concerning your weak and inferior people. Dominia, do you truly believe that? Yes, look at yourselves, for instance. You, the strong and the superior, were the first to preserve yourselves without any mutations. Is that not all right? Power and ability have nothing to do with it. It was pure coincidence that we didn't mutate. People are people, nothing more or less. I admit that there are the weak and the powerless, but that's no reason for us to forsake them. We are all the same human beings. So, you wish to give a hand to those who would be saved? You're so nice and kind. How commendable. But is that really what's best for mankind? You were all once surface dwellers. Weren't you all forced to live under the oppression of Solaris? I know that you know how it feels to be a have-not. So why do you? People must be able to stand on their own in any circumstance they're in. Overprotection only stunts the will to be independent. This stunts the growth of the people and the world. We've experienced that firsthand. Live by one's own strength. Stand on one's own feet. It's sad but true that the weak will be weeded out. But we cannot look back. That is the providence of the human existence. That is just providence of those who are the haves. Huh. So be it then. Show me this providence of yours that wishes to save the meager have-nots. Here I come.
All right, so the elements, all 4 of them this time. I'm going to go ahead and open with Rinky so I can cure the whole party if necessary.
How come we can't have 4 on our party?
Yeah, good question. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and do Yin Power.
Have we actually fought Dominia outside of her gear before?
Yep. Yep,
Okay.
I believe we fought her and Kelvana on foot at one point.
I knew we fought them on gears.
Yep.
In the tower. I don't remember fighting them on foot.
Okay, so our first target is going to be Seraphita, because she can siphon all EP off a party member, which she just did to Ellie. So
That's a problem.
Seraphita is the fire element. So if you use a fire elemental death blow, you will heal her. On the other hand, this is going to do a lot of damage.
I feel like Seraphita lives on a different planet.
A little bit. All right, and now the next target should be Kelvana, because she has the ability to use heals. So we'll target her next. She is weak to fire. We'll go ahead and Thermo Thump. Basically get rid of the fire and the water element. They also happen to have the least HP. That won't quite take her out. Then we'll just have the wind and earth elements remaining. Yeah, Seraphita is definitely very different than the rest of them. Let's see. Sure. We'll go ahead and stick with exploitation. I think Faye's highest level death blow will do more than any of even the elemental stuff, but that's a lot of damage.
They're going to need some flex seal by the time they're done with this fight.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, we can go ahead and take out Talon. And she will be weak to earth damage, and that will leave just Dominia. Now, one thing you can do is you can go ahead and take out Dominia first, because Dominia, once she's alone, will end up with a different attack that's kind of a little stronger. That one.
Yeah, that one's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy looking attack for sure.
That's quite a bit stronger than the other one is.
Yep.
Zap.
Animo Zap.
You know, as annoying as Dominia has been, I kind of like her character.
I like Dominia a lot. I think she's very cool. She definitely has some issues as a character, you know. Like I'm not saying I agree with her ideology at all, but she's a very cool character.
Yeah. Plus, she can do Omni Slash, which is that's cool by itself.
Right? Let's see how this does.
Masenko Blast.
Nice. Go ahead and have him heal himself here. Can Ellie finish Dominia? Oh,
Oh man, I thought she was gonna go do her whole like multi-slash attack again.
Yeah, keep spamming it. Let's see how this does. Yeah, Dominia does have the most HP at about 4,000, but that's still not much compared to the damage we can output, so.
Right.
And get some drives from them, as we usually do.
Nice. Have you used any of those yet?
Nope, not yet.
Huh. We may have fared poorly when we fought in the flesh, but we'll finish you off in our gears.
Oh, will you?
Come, follow me.
Now we finally get to see Fenrir in action.
What took you? What meaning is there in fighting again? Just go get trounced. Silence. Now we have no choice but to fight. Now we will show you the true power of the elements. Get ready, because here we come. They are going to Voltron.
Yes, yes, they are.
Oh my gosh.
You ready? No, you're not.
No, I'm not, but this is great. Let us merge and combine our forces. Elements in formation.
I love this so much.
Offhanded comments, I'm telling you, man.
Yep, I was waiting for this. You mentioned something about them merging their gears. It's just like, say nothing, say nothing, say nothing.
This is actually more akin to like the Megazord, really, than Voltron, but those are so similar.
Yeah, they are. They are quite similar.
Has a whole transformation sequence and everything. I am in love.
It's fantastic.
And I'll form the head.
Yeah.
No lie though, the newer Voltron, the one that Netflix released a few years back, it's actually quite good.
Voltron.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's
amazing.
Such a long transformation sequence.
It is, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. They're no match for us.
Awesome.
It's really cool. I really like this gear.
Yeah, that's awesome. Of course the chest roars.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we have to fight the G elements. And it has the Kishin sword.
Watch out, the Red Ranger's going to use his strongest move.
That's right. All right, let's see here. Let's go ahead.
That had to have been like a solid 3-minute sequence.
I know. It's crazy how long it is. We're going to not surprise anybody about what we're doing with Ellie's gear here.
I mean, why would you do anything else with her? It's so strong.
They do change their elemental affinity by doing this. So if you're using an elemental weapon, you're going to want to cool it.
That's fair. I'll have a go. Oh, man. the system id.
Yeah. Time to do some crazy damage. 6,000.
Are they still trying to find a way to make Faye whole?
So it doesn't seem that they know how to do that currently, but
Yeah.
I do think that's kind of on everybody's radar. Like, let's see if we can fix whatever Faye's issue is. But because he has the motion control device, he's not as much of a threat currently.
Right, because it helps him stay in control of it while still gaining access to his power.
Yeah, see, that healed G elements, so we'll have to cool it with Ellie. Fortunately, I can undo that healing right now.
Right. I was curious because they were talking it up a lot, and I'm sure it's kind of been taken on the back burner just because of everything else going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, we want to do this. But first, oh no, we need help because our peace tree is getting after by Solaris.
Oh, you know what?
All right, and now everybody's turning into these monsters.
They took out all of Ellie's EP in the last fight, so I can't use Ether Machine. Can I item?
Oh no.
I can item. I don't think I've ever done this in a gear before. Let's see. Do I have a Rose of Salt? I do. That's 30 EP. Ah. Is that gonna work? Apparently so.
Doodly-doodly-doo.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
Oh, just that, because I was asking about them trying to find a fix, a cure for Faye.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that I'm assuming everything kind of went to the back burner because it started with, hey, we need help with this peace treaty because Solaris is attacking, and then basically immediately after, people started transforming into monsters.
Right.
So then you had to deal with all of that. But also Solaris is trying to get anima relics, and we can't have that either. So let's go take care of that problem.
Yeah, it's kind of a one thing at a time thing, I think. I'm just gonna oppose current active element with her Ether Machine. It's a lot of damage.
And as because since Faye has got like a bandage situation going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say he just be put on the back burner a little bit as far as his immediate needs.
Yep. Let's go ahead. I'm going to charge. I'm going to see if I can get hyper mode on Fenrir. I think that would be pretty cool. Now that we actually are able to do that with Sighton. Oh, not yet.
Complete non sequitur. Are anima relics consciousnesses?
Why would you say that?
Well, see, the sword he uses there is almost like a Dao sword. Anyway,
Yes. Yeah, his gear sword is a little bit different.
sorry, sidetracked again. But Billy is talking to a voice in his head, essentially.
Yeah, he's being called by the anima relic.
Right, and he's clearly being communicated to. So I'm curious.
They seem at least to have some sort of sentience or at least interaction to them, right?
Right. An intelligent item is a scary thing. Especially for any D&D players out there. Could be cursed, could be a blessing. Doesn't matter. It's an intelligent item. Be prepared for the worst.
So right here, I am going to go ahead and throw Sighton's level 3 here. I do have a 10% chance of hyper mode, but we're closing in on taking this boss out completely. So let's go ahead and take a good look at one of these death blows here. Because his death blows are awesome. Let's see, I believe Dominia is currently active, so this should be fine. Yep. Yeah, and note, hyper mode percent went up by 6%, in addition to what he had before, the 10%, because of the use of the level 3 combo. So if we can bring him back up to 3, there's a higher chance. Oh, Kishin Sword. This is, I think, yeah, it's the best move.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. I'm just going to keep spamming Kishin. Yep, that's it.
Nicely done.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, silly.
It's a cool boss. I like that one a lot.
Of course.
And... Faye level 77. Love that. And we obtain the Kishin Sword, which is a new weapon for Fenrir, which is pretty cool.
Does it look like the one that they were using?
I believe it looks similar, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll equip it here pretty soon. Oh, there's Elrin Mazro there. That's Billy's Omni Gear.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right next to Veltal 2 there.
Yeah. Some things only the weak can feel. But weakness does not make them servile. It is because they are weak that they can develop kindness and never look down on people. That is where real human interaction comes from. Everyone has weakness. Even you did it first. Your weakness drew you to each other and made you grow strong. Never forget those feelings when you all live together side by side. Okay, bye.
See ya.
Wait. Are you trying to show us mercy? Or are you just trying to show off? You've got us all wrong, Dominia. Our paths may be different, but our goals are the same. That's why I can't fight you anymore. There's no reason for me to. That's all. Well, it looks like they sure showed us a thing or two. Man, the moment she opens her eyes, it's going to be wild. Exposition chair!
Having fled from the elements who tried to take the relic to be used as a power to fulfill Ramses' desires, we once again initiated our search for information on the whereabouts of the last known relic.
He is no longer one of us. Yes, he dares to go against our objectives, just like the other one. I'm assuming they're talking about Krellian.
They are talking about Cain, I believe.
Well, yeah, but the other one.
Yeah, I believe the other one is Krellian, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We can still activate the key. Quick when he's not looking. We must do something about the one who stands in our way. We must eliminate Cain. But we cannot stand up to his power. Only Cain can destroy Cain. What does that mean? So, Mother, will you do it for us? Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I feel like it had been all but confirmed that Myung was the mother up to this point, but this is like solid confirmation.
Yep, indeed.
But what that means and how that plays out are still questioned.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out.
Maybe. Did Krellian say anything? Something concerning the potential ability as countervailing existence. With everything focusing toward a single point. I see. The car is still shaken up by yesterday's defeat against Faye. Yesterday's?
Yeah, I believe she's referring to the elements. Since
Okay.
the elements are on his side.
Right. I was about to say, like, excuse me, it's been
a while, yeah.
several days, if not like months.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost ready. I need just a little bit more time. Then we'll wait. We'll wait till the time is ripe. Krellian? A countervailing existence? That Myung, what's she up to? I had better warn the commander. Out of the way. Let me through. That bastard. I'll hunt him out myself. Please calm down, Commander. We'll take care of him and his friends. What could you fools do? Imbeciles. Only I can beat him. Only I, who transcends all other humans, can possibly take him down. Move. Commander, wait. I don't have time for your childish noise.
He's so angry. While Faye and the others searched for the resting place of the last known anima relic, I temporarily returned to Nissan. I don't know why I went back. Just, I had this stirring within my heart that some danger was awaiting the people there. All the people accepted into Nissan were on the road to recovery. There were still those who were not able to completely recover, but Tora's nanomachines continued to evolve from day to day. Thanks to the nanomachines, the treatments were becoming more and more successful, and the day when everyone would regain their original bodily form was approaching. A trembling. There was a sudden explosion in the city of Nissan. Within the burning fire stood a gold Omnigear. It was Ramses. He assaulted Nissan so that he could defeat Faye. His purpose of existing was at stake. The Nissan and Shivat militia, even Rank and friends from Solaris who now served to protect Nissan, could not thwart the assault. So, Rank was from Ellie's squad. So we finally hear about them. They are protectors of Nissan at this point.
Right, because they've recovered from the mutation.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Which I still think, and maybe this is not the case, but there's nothing indicating otherwise, that who she was talking about in the previous section was Rank and their squad.
Yeah, that very well could be. Yes. You know, when she's talking about her friends from Solaris were among them, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The people were evacuated into the cathedral. Continuing to search for Faye, Ramses put the militia to rout and pressed on toward the cathedral. He was ruined. He had his mind set solely on getting at Faye. I stood before him.
Where? Where is he? I know it. He's here. Why does he not come out? That's a gear head in his hand.
It is.
Ramses, the Fae you seek is not here.
Such an interesting sentence.
It's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So please, stop this meaningless violence. Yes, you will do. Come out, Faye. If you will not come out, I will crush Elheim. Ellie. Boss. Keep back. Not coming out, eh? Have it your way. Then from tonight on, we'll be You will be crying with this woman's dead body in your arms.
Brutal.
Ah! How the... What happened? Why can't I move? Ellie. Are you okay? How could I? To the likes of you. Not only to him, but I am also inferior to you? Me? What happened to you, Ramses? Why are you caught up with Faye so much? Why are you so bothered by who is more superior? It's a matter of pride. I was originally created to be the integration of all human abilities. To be able to align with all of the anima relics.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of an important thing. It was noted that in Vendetta, his numbers indicated complete synchronization.
Right.
So, for example, Elrond, Mazuo, Fenrir, and Vari, they only will respond to their given pilots. Ramses can use any Omni gear.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was created to have the powers equivalent to those of Emperor Cain. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You could say I was to be the ideal form which all people strive to become.
Only Cain can destroy Cain.
However, once he was born, I was rejected. I was given life in a pile of trash. So I feel like they're trying to make an artificial contact.
That's a good
Born in
way.
the dark, cold abyss of the worthlessness.
That's a good way to put that. Because once he was born, he's obviously referring to Faye, who is the contact.
Right.
And yeah, literally, Ramses was thrown in the trash when Faye was born.
But I was able to crawl out of there. I was able to survive on my own strength. In order to get back at all those who have forsaken me. Despite all of that, I was able to get this far. I was able to provide myself with the warmth that I required to continue living. But he had to come and intervene in my life one more time. He tried to take that very warmth away from me again. As long as he exists, I don't belong anywhere. I think I know now. Know why you are so fixated with Faye. You do not really know what you should be doing with your life right now. You're simply trying to protect yourself by attacking Faye. By attacking others, you are confirming your own existence. That's why you strive to be above everyone else. Because otherwise, you'd be enveloped by a void. Because you yourself will disappear. Because that emptiness within your heart will only grow. Because you want to hang on to love. Silence! Even you are trying to take it away from me. That warmth. That very warmth I finally obtained. Ramses, no one is attacking you. No one is trying to take away what is so precious to you. No one is threatening your existence. It's all in your mind. So don't hide the feelings that are in your heart. Don't fear love. Oh, hi, Karen. You. Now you.
Rage. Oh, that's Kara doing, hanging out with Krellian.
Who knows?
Ramses was in fear He feared losing the place he belonged to. He feared that Faye was the one who would take it away from him. He believed love was something you take. He craved love more than anyone else.
Worthless. Trash. Reject. Disqualified. Why even bother existing? Defect. Be gone. We have no use for you. Trash is of more worth to us than you. Car, don't worry. I'll always be by your side. No one knows you better than I do, so don't. Yang, is this all I can do? Is this the extent of my strength and abilities? I couldn't beat him. And in front of that woman, I couldn't even do a thing. Is this the limit of my existence? My abilities? You're the same as Cain. An archetype that surpasses all humans. I made you in the same way. But he is the one who is preventing you from fully releasing your powers. Divided powers? That man was your original form. The primordial superior being. If you could defeat him, then you would be. Yes. Even with your superior constitution, the existence of the original being hinders you. If you could eliminate the divided power, then it would all be yours. Don't you agree, Kara?
All right. Having completed the alignment of the first anima relic with Billy, there was a remarkable change in the appearance and structure of Billy's gear. They were units that merged with the inorganic. Of course, we had no idea what purpose these ancient anima relics were created for, but the fact that they played some kind of role as weapons was blatantly obvious. Eventually, their true power will be released, and we cannot allow this power to fall into the hands of evil. In order to obtain the final relic, we headed for a ruin that is believed to be almost 10,000 years old. The remains of the first civilization on our planet. And a reunion with an old friend awaited us. Alright, so we're going to pop in the dungeon here. Go ahead and get in our gears here. We got Shopkeep Johnny hanging out by the exit. And the random battle frequency is still just as frequent here. But yeah, as I'm kind of setting up to talk to Johnny again, we had a couple more things that were discussed. Ramses as basically a being created a lot like Cain, and Cain, we're seeing some of his power. He's kind of unmatched in power in some ways, but he's very, very ancient as well. So there's some sort of limitation there, I think, with just his sheer age.
Right.
Of course, the ruins we're in are almost as old as he is, one would think, if he is truly, 10 millennia old.
Right. It's, this interesting to think that maybe this Cain that we've been interacting with isn't the original.
Sorry, what's that?
They've been used, if they've been making clones of Cain.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting to think that maybe the Cain they're dealing with isn't like the original Cain. Like if his consciousness has been moved from clone body to clone body.
Ah. Although he does seem to be reaching the limit of kind of his elongated lifespan, so I'm thinking maybe they were just kind of manipulating clones that were very easy to, you know, oh, hey, here we go. Here's the new form of Rinmazuo.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. I quite like it. I believe even if we were to like pop Billy in our party, we would see its name here. I don't know that it shows it to us, but yeah, it is a new version of the same gear. Johnny here actually has the same inventory he had before. So I might poke around with this at a certain point here before we get going, but I do want to make sure to equip the new weapon on Citan's gear here. Yeah, the Kishin sword. So it's not a huge, massive upgrade, but as long as we're keeping up with it, we do have another 30 attack power, which is, it's something. What was her? Yeah, okay. I do want to see, let's just take a look here at, I bring in Billy for a second. I want to see what it looks like on his status screen. So I did want to make one additional point here. Oh, I need to move off of the point here. There we go. Or not. Move over here. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't exactly show it here. So you may have heard me refer to some of the Omnigears with an L prefix. I believe I did it with Envari a couple of times. So technically speaking, and this is mostly something you'll see in the Perfect Works, the Omnigears have an L prefix attached to them in kind of the official literature and stuff. I think at least one of the Omnigears ends up with it, but L is kind of a prefix from, you know, the idea that these are god gears or gearbaras, as we kind of discussed before, the Omnigears. You know, they're god gears, basically, is what they are. So like Elrin Mazuo, you know, Elfinrir, El Envari, those would be appropriate ways of talking about the names of the gears. They're generally not referred to as such. Especially Fenrir and Envari, they're just kind of called that. But if you read enough of the literature, you'll end up starting to call them that. And I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure to explain that, just so it's not confusing when I do it. I think we've got... Oh, this can load the... But yeah, anyways, we are in Anima Relic 2, and I think this might be a good place to call it, and then we will go ahead and handle Anima Relic 2 next time. I do have a couple of preparations to do, but I did just want to touch on a couple of the things from the previous couple of conversations, particularly with the Gazel Ministry, because we've kind of gotten a bunch of little things coming at us. Ramses as kind of a type of Emperor Cain, a very similar type of being, and we kind of learned about his history, how he was thrown away when Faye was born, and that's why he's so obsessed with him. You know, it's pretty interesting that we're finally getting that explained. I did also want to mention that when he was attempting to crush Ellie with Vendetta, Rink was the one who kind of just punched him in the face, like hit his gear and freed Ellie. And Rink is not using an Omnigear. Okay, so he just kind of is like, no, you're not doing that. That's sort of why, like, Ramses was just like having this, like, even you, like, I can't do anything about this.
Right.
So it's sort of an interesting thing there, I feel like, with regards to, what exactly is happening there. Is there some other reason than rank just kind of hitting him? And there's not really an answer. It's just kind of he wasn't able to do it for some reason. Because he intended, I believe, to kill Ellie in that moment by crushing her to death with his gear.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he was prevented from doing so, is in the middle of a breakdown, and Krellian and Myang are here like, hey, you know what would help? If you kill Kane. Maybe you should go kill Kane. Then you can fight with no limitations.
Yeah. Maybe you should do that. Yeah. Good idea. Great.
Go kill that guy. It has nothing to do with our motivations,
Right. We can feign ignorance.
That's right. The other thing I did want to mention here is there was a point near the end of Solaris, and because we've seen an Anima Relic alignment, I can kind of go into a little bit of the background. I believe there is some dialogue that will reference this, but it's not exactly made too clear. So when we were looking at Bart's file in Solaris, there was a mention of Dan, right? And you had a question like, is this Dan that we fought at the battle, from Lahan? No, it's not. So Bart's Omnigear, Elenvari, is aligned with an Anima Relic. Now, there are 12 Anima Relics. There were 10 aligned before we began doing this, so this is the next Anima Relic. And a couple of their fates are unclear, but Dan is the name of the Anima Relic that is aligned with Elenvari and Bart. So these...
Really?
Yeah, Dan is the name, and that's because the Anima Relics are named after the tribes of Israel.
I was just about to ask, is there a Judah?
There is a Judah, yes.
Interesting.
There's Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Dinah, and Joseph. So
No Benjamin?
No Benjamin, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because as we get into some more Xeno titles, there will be some interesting touches with stuff like this. But in this game, those are the tribes that are used. So Bart's gear is aligned with Dan, and then Seitan's gear, Elfinner, is aligned with Asher. And then we just aligned Elrin Mazuo and Billy with Joseph. These are also numbered, so Dan is actually number 5, and then Asher is 8, and Joseph is 12. So a lot of this is kind of supplementary material, which is why I'm going into it now, because they don't really talk about it. It doesn't really matter that much which one it is, but I find it very interesting that they're named after that, after the tribes, and there are exactly 12 of them, after the 12 tribes, basically, and it's a little different when you get into kind of the history of the tribes, because there's different stuff that goes on, and so there were some choices that were made, I think. But another notable one is Zebulun, number 10, was aligned with Wyvern to make Vendetta for Ramses. So, just some information. We will kind of come back to this after a little while, because we have not seen all of them yet. So there's more to come on Omnigears, but I did kind of just want to give a little bit of a rundown, excuse me, of the relics at this time, as we're on our way through dealing with we're heading toward the last known relic at this point.
Yeah.
So, did you have any other comments on what we've dealt with so far? I know you'll have to go back through your notes, but
yeah, not right this second. I do find it interesting that Ramses was grown in a tube. And I've got some serious questions as to why Karen was with Krellian.
Yup.
And what they were trying to accomplish there.
Yeah,
so
I think the last scene we saw with Karen was when we were in the Soylent system before the destruction of Etranonk, and
right.
we saw her in that little very, very brief scene, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a lot to unpack.
There definitely is. But the important thing is the G Elements was awesome, and we got to see the Megazord, the Elements Megazord, or the Elements Voltron. Fun times there.
That was the best part of the whole sequence of fights right there.
I very badly wanted to get to that. That and the Fort Hurricane fight around this part of the game are just like, what is happening with fights in this part?
Yeah, dog, I heard you like propellers and Voltron.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Wow.
But yeah, next time will be Anima Relic number 2. Anima Dungeon 2, really. And we were told that we will be reuniting with an old friend. Who could the narrator mean?
He's so unreliable, there's no way of knowing at this point.
That's true. But yeah, we do hope you have enjoyed this episode. I know I've had a blast getting through this game. We do have plenty more to come. Things are continuing to kind of come into focus here, so we're going to be sure to keep covering the material. There's lots more to come when it comes to bombshells, lore, revelations, and more details about this narrative. So definitely stay tuned. Join us next time as we tackle Anima Dungeon number 2.
Yeah, it seems like it's all downhill from here as far as the bombshells go, as in they will only get more wild.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. It's great stuff. If you find that you like what you've been watching, though, please hit all the buttons. We really appreciate you being here. And if you have any of your own thoughts you want to add to this series, feel free to share. We've already been really enjoying the comments leading up to this point, which obviously we record weeks in advance, but we have been loving seeing the comments and engaging with them. So anything you want to add to it is awesome. And even if you don't want to talk about the game, we still want to hear from you. So feel free to leave something there. And if you like what you see here, obviously we have other series going on that have been completed and that will be firing up soon.
Yeah.
So check all of them out. I'm sure you'll have a blast. I know we do. But more than anything else, as I'm prone to say, is we just love having you here. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And we'll see you all in the next video.
See you next time, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll pick this up next time in Xenogears. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye now.
Diddly diddly do 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 do. Thanks for watching.